But now, for a very special Subathon version of the show, it's time for a Subathon question, which is, what are you listening to? And it's, of course, that all new punk. And today, we've got 15 tracks. Also, hello, YouTube. Subathon Tamp. Hi, YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Hi. Okay. Actually, what's the command for it? Is it? Oh God, I think it's Riptides, right? Yeah, there you go. Hi, YouTube. Hi, Bono. I said Bono. Pro Bono, Chad Bono. Can't tell the difference. Okay. Folks, it's time to just immediately jump right into it. This first song is by a band called Sorry Sweetheart, and this is definitely a cover, but I think maybe more like a parody version, because this song, this very first track on this week, is a song called Beyond Burger in Paradise. Oh, it's like ska? Ooh.
I played a show with my synth gods grand band. It meant so much for me to see all of my friends. I was going strong until I crashed into that trash can. I can't drink Shamo anymore, I'm a dead man. Nobody's perfect, but we're drawn to the drama. Sorry that I'm not CEO or a lawyer, but I'll do what I do.
Okay, so not a parody or anything like that. I think it's just referencing Cheeseburger in Paradise. But Beyond Burger in Paradise, great to see ska being the first track of the week, actually. Love to see more ska in this sort of playlist. Good energy. Wish that the horns were a little bit higher in the mix, but the tone on the actual offbeat, regular verse section, this kind of clean section here is really solid.
Too hard at the condor. Nobody's perfect, but we're drawn to the drama. Sorry that I'm not CEO or a lawyer, but I'll do what I do, and I'm happy for that. 10 to 1, we're both more fun than either.
Ooh.
Well, if I have to be a mess,
Okay.
or if you're drunk and need a driver, it always helps me to know that we could be a mess together. Well, if I have to be a mess, or if you're drunk and need a driver, it always helps
Yeah, man. I mean, ooh. This is an early strong contender. And as much as I make jokes about it at times, I do have a soft spot for ska bands as a recovering ska kid. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it does have me kind of thinking, what's going to beat this in this playlist? I do still wish that the horns were a little bit louder in the mix, but it's good. It's good to see that this is still alive and well, you know? Sometimes you look at the things of today and you go, maybe the kids are all right. Is this the right song? Hang on. Yes. All right. That's correct. Ooh. In fact, it's so good it tickled my nose. It makes me feel like I'm going to sneeze. Which is what I think all ska songs should be like. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Up next is a song from a band called Scheller, and the song is Shreddy. Oh. Not quite where I was Not where I was expecting those vocals to go either. But I like where those drums went for a little bit there. There's something interesting in that. That last song, by the way, my mom said it sounds like a song that I would have played back in the day. That does track. So I just realized that this is a little off screen. Yeah, I don't know. Like the instrumental part of this really does have a lot of something good. Vocally, it's... I feel like I've played a lot of shows with people who have this exact sound. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I feel like there's a very odd mix of bands where you've got a vocalist that's way too good for whatever is happening in the rest of the band. And then the opposite, where like you've got a lot of like great instrumentalists, but like vocally the band's just kind of there. Like, these don't, like, suck. Like, it's just to be very clear, like, I'm not, like, hating on them. It's just not exactly the same quality or, like, talent level as the rest of what I'm hearing. Like, they're just not on the same level, you know? I kind of also feel like this is a little bit of a middle ground. Maybe slightly lower. It is, unfortunately, just a little bit of a mismatch. But, like... the concept of calling this song shreddy makes sense because this does feel shreddy. I feel ready to shred. I actually feel like the backing vocals are stronger than the main vocals. But also, it's not the main thing to feature either, so they don't have to be as super solid, so... tough call. I don't know. There probably should be. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of agreeing with like 3 or 4. I'm kind of leaning towards 4 myself, just to give us some room. But again, we can always come back. I will tell you this, by the way. I did order more emotes. They just did not get here in time for Subathon. The phone never died. I was right. False battery. False hope. False life. Maggie's back. Welcome back, Maggie. Okay, this next one is by a band called Frankie and the Studs, and it's also featuring an artist by the name of Kevin Preston. They are both on this track, and the song is called Whatever Happened to Fun.
The weekend's here again, and I've got nothing to do. I need something new, but no one ever calls.
Hang on.
So I turn on the TV show. Oh, but nothing good comes on. It never does. Whatever happened to fun? Whatever happened to fun? Whatever happened to fun? Whatever happened to fun?
It's just a little...
We were gonna be rich and famous. We were gonna be so outrageous, and no one could pull us apart. Now you tell me there's a change in plans, and our castles were just made of sand.
Like, this kind of feels like we're on like a Ramones track kind of thing, which is, I think is great. I always love some Ramones, but yeah, it's a little flat, and like I kind of can't believe that's like the final version. It's just they're not quite together, and that is unfortunate. Yeah, no, I mean that's no, I know that is unfortunate. Which also makes me believe that, because when he's on his own, he sounds mostly fine too. It makes me wonder if he's also a hair sharp. But I'm noticing hers more because it's a larger jump. But even here, when they're together on the same exact notes, and it's just not doing that for me. I do agree that the guitar is quite nice. Bass isn't as loud as I would have also preferred as usual, but drums are also good tone. Not super heavy in the mix. And the way that they're layering things, again, is so Ramones coded. And like anything of like that era, you know? Anything from like late 70s through like mid to late 80s has like some elements of this where it's like almost got like a doo-wop feel in a way, you know? Because like this section right here is pretty fun. But it just doesn't have enough to save it, I feel. Fun little ending there, but yeah, it's just not there. It just doesn't have enough together. I don't know how new either of these bands are. It looks like Frankie and the Studs have been around for about 6 years, 5.5 years. I don't know. Okay, well, up next, we've got, this one goes out to Taryn. Terry Godmother, if you're out there, this one's for you. This is a new track called I Don't Think It's the Right Time for Emojis. And the band is Hot Mulligan.
Scratch the blister until it breaks and run the playback. Watch it change, they never say it. Straight to your face, and the more they are, ruins everything. Back the wrong horse, and next you'll see you're forced in the water you refuse to drink. Claim it's love while they vomit out it, and the more they are, ruins everything. The more they are, ruins everything. I don't wanna take part. I barely have anything keeping me.
There is a little bit of an element of like, kind of like Midwest emo kind of like vocal stuff where there's a little bit of that, right? Like before you get a note out, I'm gonna, yeah, you know, like, and I feel like it's like stylistically just like a part of that genre. So many bands have that, like, I can't sing something without, you know, like having, and it's like not exactly whining, but it's like tactical emo, you know? Like, no, I'm not gonna do it next week. I was gonna do something much worse. And like a little scream, like not like hefty screamo, but like just like a little, you know? That makes sense? You know what I'm saying when I'm... The guitar stuff is great though. Ooh.
no part
Hang
in the
on.
love that I gave. I don't believe that you can say the same.
The ending kind of has a little bit of that like Death Cab for Cutie, Postal Service type of sound. The drums at the very end had such a cool little like effect of slowing down everything, despite obviously the tempo fully staying the same. But like the everything kind of like in this 4/4, then like the triplet dun 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 back into like a slower beat, and then to do an even kind of like less built up tracks that everything becomes almost like a 1 1 1 1. You know, it basically goes from like 4 to 2 to 1 in a way. Just a cool pattern that they pulled off there. Small says, I want to say 2, but also 3 is fine. Minnie is saying 3. Hey, don't forget, by the way, we now have, whether you're a sub or not, you now have a free emote when you go to my channel. There are now the vote emotes. That's weird. Where are they? Oh, there they are. So like, for example, like if I want that to be a 3, Maggie says, I really like Hot Mulligan. Taryn also really loves Hot Mulligan. You know what? I think since we also had Ruby on stream, I think I'm willing to slot that in the 2 for a band that people. My grandmother was a Hot Mulligan. I was just telling someone yesterday that like anytime I do like accents or voices, there's typically like a go-to line that gets me into the voice. To say anything as a grandmother, I always go, my grandson played the piano, because that's what like I one time heard an old lady say to me when I was working at the music retail stop that I used to work for. And, you know, we were looking at instruments and she was like, my grandson played the piano. And I was like, oh, that's lovely, ma'am. She's like, yes, he played for 25 years and then he gave it up. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. So I think about that all the time. But my grandmother was a Hot Mulligan. And then we moved over to America and they took our name, Ellis Island. I don't know where I'm going with. All right, anyway, sorry. We'll put that at 2. I've got to get out of this bit. All right, that means that number 3 automatically goes to Bryce Vine and State Champs. State Champs, not a name that I've heard in a couple of years, I feel like. Right Thing, Wrong Time.
Need to unpack it. There was a girl before you and one before her, so I've had some practice with falling in and out of love, going on and off of drugs. You want me open up and spill my guts, but I won't tell you anything if I can't tell you everything, yeah, 'cause I always say
the electric drums. Oh, sorry. I did not mean to clip my mic there. The electric drums into the real drums was very smooth. Like, it's very clearly like a jump, but they matched very well. Like, even here, cutting back into like the little drum machine for a split second for like the hi-hats kind of sound. The guitar tone is great, which feels very much in the State Champs like line of work. So maybe it's like fully their kind of overall typical sound maybe being utilized here. Vocals are really great. Okay. I think I know where I would place everything like in the sort of rework version of this. This is one of those things where I'm not necessarily mad at it landing in 3. You know what I mean? Considering that I think that the first 3 tracks in this list are easily going to end up in the overall playlist. I think like I feel confident in that, or I feel comfortable with that. Oops. Ooh. Oh, okay. I think there's two answers of what we could swap. Ooh, fun little kind of like back clap. That sounded weird, but you get what I'm saying. Like a backbeat clap at the end there. Very fun. Okay. Here is where most people are saying. Okay. This is what, oh, hang on. Actually, I almost forgot. 1 second. I have to download this image first. There we go. Okay. So this is where we were on the blind listening. Here's what everyone's saying. Okay. I would be totally fine with this. I also, listen, again, you know me, I love ska. I also kind of wouldn't mind that. Like, I wouldn't be mad at it if that's how other people felt. But if we're also fine with leaving ska number one, I'm not going to complain about that either. You know what I'm saying? I love seeing a ska song win. I know a ska band hate to see me coming. Actually, they probably love to see me coming. Because they're like, that kid's going to dance. That's true. The ska one was bird approved. Also, Minnie, I think it's really funny that usually the Twitch chat, like on the left-hand side, gets almost every 7TV emote, but for whatever reason, Trumpet Master is not one of them. So it just still shows up as Trumpet Master. And I find that very humorous. So it just looks like you're like so stoked about trumpet. Oh, it might have to be refreshed. Okay, I could refresh it after the show, and we'll see if it still works. Okay, I'm going to download this version. I need to remember to do something with all this. I now have like 800 photos, and I've not published any of them. I dated 2 trumpet players in my life. I'm sorry to hear that. Considering one of my best friends for the longest time has been a trumpet player. Michael from Rat House and the Scavengers Network and the Scavengers, he was the backing vocalist and trumpet player in our band. I love that kid, but also like, can't believe he's married, good for her for being able to put up with him. Cause let me tell you, trumpet players, oh boy, that is like doing community service, Anyway. All right, let's take these tracks out real quick. And now we are moving on to, oh no, then you updated to a drummer. I actually would say that's regressing. That is downgrading in terms of the kind of people. Never mind. I'm just kidding. I love drummers. I always need a drummer. Wait, actually, let me specify. Is the current boy a drummer? Because if that's the case, I literally never knew that. I was mostly just making a joke, but that is so funny. I don't think I ever knew that he played an instrument. That's so cool. Well, that's good to know because we don't have a drummer anymore. And someday I think we'd like to put out some more music. So who knows? It might be time to get those sticks ready. But also that would require me to pick up an instrument for the first time in forever. I actually was just playing my bass last night for a little bit. It's in my bedroom. I need to get a stand because I'd actually like to put the bass and guitar probably like right in between this little section. I'm also thinking about moving that to the door and then maybe either putting up more vinyls. But then again, I just realized there is a piece of artwork that's going to probably end up living there. So maybe not. He hasn't played drums in forever and he keeps saying he wants to get a new drum set after donating his a couple years ago. Hey, get one of those electric pads, your neighbors will never know. Unless there's someone immediately underneath you, they might hear the dum 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 dum, like just you hitting the one. But I know it's not the same. I get it. But listen, living in an apartment, it's much nicer because you can't get people going, stop it. You know, um, you have to stop. All right, here we go. Speaking of stopping, we've stopped that first playlist, so that means it's time for another one. This is set list number 2, and we saw this band a couple weeks ago, and they have a new album coming out in. Hang on, it comes out. I like that they just have the singles showing. What's the countdown for the album? It's in 34 days. So in just a little bit over a month, their newest album comes out. So this is probably the last single that we will play from this album until that album comes out. But this song is called Miracle by the band The Academy Is. It's like I'm back in high school. Yeah, dude. This is a good song. Merch Guy Steve welcoming also says, I'm so stoked to see them in April. That's perfect. I guess they'll be on tour for that new album. Yeah, this is already a vibe. I was going to mention just from the very get-go, the bass sound is heavy. And I fuck with like a heavy bass. That is a thick bass sound. It's sounding incredible. But I like this like kind of 80s synth pop backtrack. Like it's almost giving 16 Candles. Or like Breakfast Club, just like a little bit. Ooh. That part's really good. The part where they go like bum 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 bum, like that's such a good. It's just a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. It's I don't know, like you're still coming out on the correct, like beat kind of thing, but you're just changing up just a little bit. But also 2 solid every time will get you. There's something about 2 quick. Like hit with like the part, like their literal space between the notes. So like literally giving yourself like a half note, even just like they pop. They put a little bit of separation in there, but you're still able to groove and move to it. That's quite nice. And also something that like was really cool about like the little bridge and like breakdown there. I also, you want to talk about something that I mess with is super fast shaker, the and then like just hitting on like the solid snare, or it's not even necessarily a snare, I think, but like they were keeping like a really fast part of the beat and then a slow part of it, which made the really kind of kick in. All right, so we got a 2 in chat. Do you have any other votes? Don't forget, you've got a free emote. Colin M6 vote. I think actually if you just start typing in vote, I think it'll pop up. Yeah, if you type in colon vote, you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You'll also get vote nay and vote yay because there's global emotes, but we're not looking for yay or nay. We're looking for numbers. We're looking for those numbers, folks. We're looking for 2s. We got some 2s in chat. Why am I being sprayed? Why am I being bad? Not even being gross. At least not right now. Don't worry. I can be gross if we were looking for that. All right, that's track number 2. Oh, a new update that I haven't used yet. Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, here we go. Up next, this is a band called Angel Dust with a $sign in it. And this song is called Pain is a Must. There is so much space around that snare drum. Like the way that the sonic airwaves effectively of this song is right now feels as though you're hitting that snare and there is a literal like gigantic hole around that snare where then on the outskirts of that are the rest of the instruments. There's just a massive spot of like nothingness in the direct middle with it, which is crazy. Solo guitar is a little quiet, kind of surprisingly quiet. I love it when you explain what I'm hearing because I'm like, what is this sound? Yeah, it's also the fact that the snare is quite bright for the rest of the sound. Like everything is fairly hefty. It's not super heavy, but it's got some heft to it. But then that snare is so bright and just so much space around it. I do like the heft of the guitars, though. The rest of the drums have a good amount of bass to them, adding into some of that heft. They're filling in a little bit of the space, but I feel like the snare is the loudest thing. Really good harmonies in the background, though. Oh. Not what I was expecting from the end there. The small slowdown and then just the sort of like the tape descend as if everything was like on a tape machine and then just the whir. Yeah. Instead of a final hit too, like you're kind of expecting the way that right, but instead of a final so you actually go out on like that 4 instead of on that downbeat, and it all just sort of falls down. That is pretty interesting. I like when people change it up and give you something that you're not quite expecting. Okay. Seeing 3, 4, 3. So we'll give this a 3. This is such an interesting artwork. Like I'm into it. I'm trying to figure out what is around this $sign on this guy's face. Is it like the imprint of a boot? Is it like bootlicker or something? I don't know what part of this icon is, but it is fascinating to me. Interesting. Okay. Number 3, or rather track 3 that we're going to listen to today is by a band called Story of the Year. And this song is called, oh, hang on. This one's a little scandalous, guys. This one's called See Through. Whoa.
When I see me, I see blue. When I see war, I see truth.
Like, it's almost a little overproduced vocally, you know, where it's like, you can kind of feel a little bit of the artificialness of, it's almost like sterile kind of clean. That being said, the harmonies that they've put in there do hit pretty nicely, which kind of makes me overlook some of like that overproduction type of sound. Because it takes out a little bit of the life, I think, behind the voice. But like, yeah, it's kind of what you're saying. The harmonies are quite nice. They build on themselves very nicely in this song. And I do like the drum sound of this a little bit more than the last one. Everything is mixed together versus just a giant cavern in the center of the mix. Now we're doing some of the scream. Like, see, this is nice. This has way less production on it. Half scream. But then like good back into like those kind of good harmonies. Almost the exact opposite problem with the last song. The last song I felt like the snare was a little bit too far forward. In this one I actually kind of feel like I could use more snare to help the driving factor of it. But the bass drums, the kick drum rather, did help some of that driving factor. I like that little breakdown where they went to the very like stripped section, especially down to like to stripped vocals. I kind of would have loved a longer section of that. Like I would have really messed with like a full section. Not that it wasn't a full bridge, but like sometimes I think bridges are too quick. Like I think sometimes we move away from that new sound like immediately after we get it. And it's like, oh wait, I've just found something kind of nice. And then you're kind of pulled back out of it. I would have liked that a little bit longer, I think. But like, I don't know. That was good. I did like that one. How are you all feeling about it? Because like, I could see this being still kind of somewhere around those same first two songs. So I could see it in the one, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we're like, listen, unfortunately, because we put something in 2 and 3, it's going to be put down to 4. I certainly don't think that that's a 5. At least not for me. Not a 4. So we're thinking probably 1. All right. Story of the year. Wow. And your artwork kind of matches the number 1 spot. Interesting enough. Hang on. It also kind of matches 2 in a way, if it needed to. That's interesting. It's like they knew what spot they were gunning for. They're like, listen, we'll take a 2, but we prefer it to be 1 because you can see where it kind of blends in. They knew. Well, welcome to the show. We're glad that you're big time listeners of That All New Punk. Okay, so we've got 2 songs. Let's try that again. We've got 2 songs. I started to say songs and tracks and said strongs. It's not a thing. We've got 2 songs left. This first one is by a band named Wine Lips, and it is Semi-Detached Furnished Home. Okay. Listen, I will say at least it's relatable. Saying I can't afford gas or my rent or even groceries, that part I totally get. This is... I honestly, like, I kind of almost view this as like a Texas bar band kind of thing. You know, where it's like you're not playing country, but you are playing like some sort of punk / rock group. You need something on like a Thursday night on 6th Street. A bunch of college kids, I think, would kind of for sure put this thing together. It's got a little bit of that like Talking Heads type of sound where it's like you're not exactly singing, but you're not exactly speaking either. You're like right on the cusp of the sing talking. And you're maybe focusing a little bit more on just like, I'm trying to get a funny concept out or a very specific concept of lyrical prowess or whatever. Like we know, like, I think that this is noting and utilizing the fact that you're not as strong of a singer without trying to fully commit to it like some of the other bands where they fully commit and it does not work for them. But this for sure, I think would get a bar moving. Maybe not necessarily fully dancing, depending on like, you know, what kind of vibe the space is, but I think you'd get a lot of head bobbing and some people turning to see who's currently on the stage. Like if you told me I heard this song at South by Southwest at some sidebar, like 5 blocks away from like the main campus of South by Southwest, I wouldn't bat an eye. I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm sure of that. That sounds correct. All right, the artwork for that is this kind of like graffiti-ish one. Where is that? Here it is. All right, that means that by default, our number 5 for this set list is the band Infinities and the song Cherry Cola. Not necessarily the strongest beginning, but it kind of grows throughout the song. Like I'm definitely a firmer believer by a minute in than I am in the first 5 seconds. I got some interesting things happening here. Like, I don't think this is top 3 of the night or even of this set list. But like, kind of the same story as the last one. Like if I'm at South by Southwest, I'm at a bar and this kind of thing is coming on, I'm not walking out. Like I'm definitely like, okay. And like this section here where they kind of start breaking into like these harmonies and kind of like a bigger sound. That's nice. Like that's some well crafted, like composed melodies here. Ooh, excuse me. And like, it's more than just like doing like a standard third on top of something. We've got some like kind of interesting harmonies happening, and then a really great solo here. All right. Okay. So look, I think this one's pretty easy, right? This is where we were. Personally, I think this is the only change I'd make. I think I would flip those last two and call it a day. Now, the only question that I have is, of these five, I think for sure the first two make it into the playlist. But what about any of the last three? I could pass on the last three. Hang on, I'm just going to go back real quick to this. I just want to hear the intro to track number 3. I want to get to the vocals. Hang on. Yeah, I don't know. Hang on. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the thing that makes me want to say no. It's just some of that first little bit of singing. I think it gets better, but that opening is not super strong. I think I'm just going to stick with the first two. But that means that we are on to the third and final set list of tonight. So folks, get those voting numbers ready. Because up first, we have, an absolutely great band name. And that's Hans Gruber and the Diehards. 10 out of 10. And the song is called Confirmation Bias. Ska? There is so much happening here, but I totally agree. This is incredible energy, and it's like covering multiple bases as well within the kind of almost like subgenres or like feels that they are fitting into one song, but without it feeling like chaotic in a bad way. Like, it is chaotic, but it feels like organized chaos. The horns mixing in with some of the vocals too is really nice. It's adding extra layers to the harmonies on that. But the fact that they had a full kind of Kids D and the Big Table subsection, and then kind of back into their regular sound. And it's short. That's less than 2 minutes. Yeah. Hey, Hans, Diehards, yippee-ki-yay, all right? Okay, then another good name, actually, Chart Attack, Somebody Kill Me Please. If this is a cover of the song from Wedding Singer, I'm going to lose my mind, maybe in a good way. I hope in a good way.
You
Wow. Okay, hang on. I wonder if the original is on here. Somebody kill me, please. Yeah. This is the Adam Sandler version.
I just want to warn you that when I wrote this song, I was listening to The Cure a lot, so. You don't know how much I need you while you're near me. I don't feel blue, and when we kiss, I know you need me too. I can't believe I found a love that's so pure and true. But it all was bullshit. It was a goddamn joke. And when I think of you, Linda, I hope you fucking choke.
Oh, man.
I hope you're
This is the most Adam Sandler section. Hang on, here it is.
Done to me. I lay in bed all day long, feeling melancholy. You left.
I just want to get to that part. The way he goes, feeling melancholy. It's just so Adam Sandler. Oh, that's funny. That movie is great. If you've never seen The Wedding Singer, fucking great movie. They actually made a musical out of The Wedding Singer, and it rips. It's actually quite good. I feel like I kind of want to put it at 3. Like, I do like it a lot. Like, it's such a funny song, but like, it's still such a basic thing that I feel like there's probably going to be something with a little bit more heft in it. So I'm thinking I'm going to sit with that on 3. Up next, Alex Melton. He's got a new album in 2 weeks. Looking forward to putting something from that on this show as well, once the full album comes out. But this is a song called Thunderstorms.
Addicted to panic, create flame, then fan it, and sit inside the wreck I've made.
I love the tone that he has, both vocally but then also instrumentally. His guitars have such a big sound. Like, even when they're like simple like this, there's so much depth to them.
You keep me safe and warm in the middle of my thunderstorm.
Ooh. Going down for the low note. Storm. It's pretty low.
We move through the seasons. December was leaving.
Good harmonies.
Burning out to fade away. The summer ain't coming around for intervention. We'll settle down here for the way. You keep me safe and warm in the middle of my thunderstorm.
This is kind of what I imagine. Like, if pop punk had a church, this is what I feel like church services would be like. Right? Like, this feels like, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine being at the concert for this, like being in, like, especially if you've got yourself a honey, if you can slow dance with someone, just like wrap your arms, like whether they're facing you or like, you know, arms like around the waist and, you know, you're both facing you and just kind of swaying, right? This would be such a beautiful moment. If this had come out for Valentine's Day, man, let me tell you, we're working hard. This is, God, I love Alex Melton. There is nothing that Alex Melton can't do that I don't love. He's just so damn talented. This is so good. I'm popping this back up now.
Yeah, there's something about the words you speak.
Ooh.
More than just what you mean. There's just something about the way you tell me you love me. There's something about the way you tell me you love me. Yeah, there's something about the words you speak.
I feel Alex Melton at the Subathon tonight. Can I get an amen? Oh, great final chord. Thank you, Minnie. Okay, that's an easy number 2. Listen, I love both of these first 2 tracks. Like, sometimes it's really hard for like a ballad to outdo something that's got an intense level of energy like number 1 does. That being said, like the tone and sound quality of the second song is, I think, better. So it's just one of those things where like those 2 songs are for sure at the end of the day, they're going to podium. They're both going to podium. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, like, not to set myself up for potential failure here, but I don't think that anything that the last 2 songs could possibly do would remove either of these first 2 songs out of the top echelon here. Personally, those 2 songs might be my favorite tracks of the evening alone. Again, I do like that Hot Mulligan song. I did like that State Champs song, the Academy Is track. Those 3 were all quite good, but those 3 plus these 2, I think, are top 5 of the evening, and it's like not even close. But these top 2, I think these 2, I think, take the cake of the evening. So then again, not to sort of set myself up or potentially these other bands for failure, but it's just kind of where I'm at. This is the Riptides and Manchurian Candidate.
Another sleeper raging, who now is wide awake, trying to
It's fun.
forget his dreams. But there's too much at stake. He doesn't know he's on the inside. His future actions are not controlled by fate. Deep in his heart, something has died. Manchurian candidate. A casualty of war. Mind stolen away. Mommy, can I go kill? For the USA, his final act will make the
That's funny. So there's actually like the backing harmonies are quite nice. Like, it's like if Beach Boys kind of had a punk era, it's kind of giving that to me. Like I said, a lot of like the older version of punk music was very kind of doo-wop heavy, which I think some bands still kind of keep there, you know? And some bands like have made that kind of like a little bit more modern, which I think this band would definitely fit that bill. Masked Intruder is very much like, here's doo-wop, but with like heavier guitar riffs and, a little bit better audio production. Whereas like overall, the vocals aren't like my number 1 favorite. Like, I certainly wouldn't say no to this song. Like, if this song came on, I wouldn't be like, get that off, Also, I've already forgotten what the full lyric was, unfortunately. But the thing about asking his mom if he can go kill for the USA was a very, very funny line. I also just realized that the name of the album this is from is Canadian Graffiti. Obviously a riff on American Graffiti. All right. Yeah, I think that's an easy solid 4. I do think that this is going to be a tough one because I feel like I have hope for the final song. I have a feeling that all 5 of these songs will be good songs. Will they all be great songs or like amazing? I don't know. But like, I have a feeling that I would be fine and would enjoy all 5 of these songs on like the overall playlist. Not to call my shot, but potentially keeping the vibe of the Beach Boys alive is this song automatically going into track number 5 here is the band Hotbox with their song Surfer Girl. I do think that the one lead guitar line is a little loud. I think you could bring that down to make sure the vocals really shine through. But pretty good harmonies on this. Honestly, that's a pretty high note, and he did pretty decent with that. Like it's hard to sing something like it's not that like the pitch is bad, right? That's a hard note to sing high on, and like certain syllables are very hard to get out. To get that to kind of actually ring out like that, it's pretty tough. It's why a lot of, higher vocalists have to go pretty like nasal forward to get as much of a bright sound, just to get like the best possible like syllable to fit on. Which is also why pop music sometimes has a little bit of that nasally sound. Because if you're not like a classical artist, it's hard to get that kind of sound without like fully formal training. So you need that bright voice to kind of push those notes out. I like this kind of quiet little bridge. Ooh, drum build up. Hang on. I feel like we kind of simplified out on that. I feel like we could have done a little bit more on that. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't necessarily the greatest payoff, but like there was an attempt made. Pretty good drum fill out of it though. Yeah. Personally, I would actually enjoy all of these, on the full playlist. I actually, personally, my perspective, unless someone, has a different one, I kind of like this one entirely as is. Like, I don't know if I would change anything on this list. I think that like this might be a first actually. I think that for the first time ever in that all new punk, I think that we objectively found 1 through 5 perfectly on the first go. And interestingly enough, almost all of them were played in that order too. The only thing is like track 2 and 3 were played in the opposite order there, but like just by literal pure happenstance, just by literal factor of RNG, by a random number generator, the way that this stuff gets added in and in what order, that stuff just all fell in directly into our lap in that way. We did exactly. We had high hopes with number 1 and it paid off. Well, that is that. I'm going to put back on, hang on. I'm going to put this one on to play us out. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of That All New Punk live from the Subathon. It's always recorded by the time you see it on the VOD. But goodbye, YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, because as always, that is the way that the track fades.